Lucas. Hey, I'm John Davison, CTO of StartupLandia.io, and my pair across the broad oceans is
Lucas.
Lucas. Remember, like part of the mantra of Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do is that in Mortal Kombat, which is combat to the death for all you non-video game players, that you don't adapt the situation to whatever tools you've learned. You adapt the tools you've learned to the situation. And he has a great quote that I love. And that quote is that you don't ask somebody to take a step back so that you can have a full extension on the punch, so you can have crispy punches. The point isn't to have a crispy punch. The point is to land a hit, right? And so one of the things people would always ask Bruce Lee is like, what is Jeet Kune Do? And he never really had a great answer. And he's written these letters attempting to sort of answer it. And I think it's an incredible answer for anybody who is a student of multidisciplinary problem solving, which is basically like you use the multidisciplinary nature to find a way to adapt what you know to the problems you're trying to solve. And so, Lucas, you might be like, how does that relate? How do these weird esoteric Bruce Lee quotes relate back to what we're trying to do in this moment? And for the crowd, we are attempting to run the auto ticket code base, which we've been working on my machine in Austin. We're trying to run that code base on Lucas's machine. And we now have the code. Show off the code LS in your terminal, please, Lucas. Yeah, in your cursor
Sorry.
terminal is fine. Yeah. LS, right. Cat, one of those directories, app.art, cat, like cat app.rb or something. There you go. So there's the code. We forgot Lucas doesn't have any Ruby infrastructure on his computer. And so we're like going back and forth. Should we bring the session back onto my computer? Should we configure his computer with Ruby? What should we do? And I think that if you're like, hey, take a step out so that I can throw a crispy punch, then it would be like, okay, punt the situation back to John's computer because I have everything configured correctly. But I think in the spirit of why we're recording these sessions, it really makes sense for Lucas to be driving. And in fact, it's more interesting for Lucas to be driving. In the last couple sessions, I've been driving. I've been doing all the work. We've been exploring tools on my machine. And in this session, I was like, hey, Lucas, you should drive. A, because it's funner for you. It gets you attention. And selfishly, I don't actually use Cursor. So I haven't spent a lot of time working with it. So I'm very curious to watch somebody work in Cursor. So what I actually think we should do in this moment is use Cursor to create a Docker file that will correctly run this um, very tiny application on your machine. Can we do that, Lucas?
Yeah, I'm
And
sure we
so
can.
I actually am relatively terrible at building Docker files. I can use them if somebody else sets them up. Can you increase your screen, your fonts or anything? Because like we see you typing down in your context window. And by the way, Lucas will potentially be coding or excuse me, prompting in Portuguese, and we'll be looking for whatever language outcome we get. We could call this the Tiralate strategy.
Yeah.
Tiralate means trash can flipper. It's I guess a derogatory word for like street dogs in Brazil, but I guess it also is kind of like it's an endearing term for anybody who is in the business of turning things over and looking to see what's under in hopes of finding yummy food. So I will I will pronounce this as I think it's written. Ao invés de instalar localmente, crio uma imagem Docker para este projeto.
Whoa, pretty good.
I mean, I speak Spanish and Italian, like, and I speak Italian really well. So you would hope I can read. Ah, look at
And
that. It built a Docker file.
yeah, a lot of things are happening now.
My
He
least
asking me to.
favorite part of Cursor is when like all these things flash on screen and it's impossible to follow what's happening.
Yeah, I have to be patient. So I just asked him to, instead of installing locally, we're gonna use a Docker image for this project. And it starts creating a Docker file, a Docker Compose file, and is asking me to install some Docker extensions. And I will install them.
Do you know what you're installing?
Yeah, this is the official Docker extension.
So that means the extensions are per project. I would assume you already had Docker installed because I know you're running other projects in Docker containers using Cursor.
Well, we use dev containers on our
Oh, yeah,
project.
that's
So
right. Which is
those extensions are
variant.
inside the dev
Yeah,
container, which is
yeah,
insane.
yeah. I like dev containers even less than Docker. I mean, I like Docker and I like dev containers. I just think they can really get in the way of local development. I totally understand why they exist, and I think they're awesome in production.
He asking me to accept this.
Editing git ignore.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
lot of time editing.
Yeah, he was asking my permission to edit git ignore. Okay. Let me see. So it added three files and it gave me some instructions here. Let me just give a quick review here what it did. Sounds okay here.
I mean, I don't fully understand the cursor like interface screens, but I like that it's giving you keyboard shortcuts to accept commits. It's like one of the things I think Aider is not great at.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. This is the Docker
Oh
file.
yeah, that's
I
cool.
I don't know if
Maybe
you should spend.
make the font a tiny bit smaller. It might
Okay,
make your world a little bit easier too. There you go. That's perfect.
all
Thank
right.
you.
I'm gonna accept that. And the Docker Compose also looks pretty basic. Okay. So let's run this script. I can run here inside the interface. Okay.
Should you it's running those. Can we see the output of the commands?
Um, we should
Output.
see maybe in the Docker extension here.
This is the part
Uh,
that's like really confusing for me with cursor. Like I just like to use a console. And I think
yeah, me too.
for the audience, one of the reasons I really dislike IDEs is I think that it pushes people down the road of having an overly specialized development experience, which can then make it very hard to think about the actual deployed experience. And the actual deployed experience is generally just a console, which is why I think Vim is so useful because you just see the code in
Yeah.
the console and the process is running and it's all very close to Unix land. This is
Yeah,
sort
I
of a representation of your work environment. It's not the actual work environment itself.
exactly. So I'm running here again
What
in
did you
premise.
select while I was blah blah blahing? What did you select to get the Docker outputs to come up on screen?
I went here in the terminal inside
Hmm.
the cursor and
Yep.
paste this command here to build the image. Now,
So when you pushed play on the left side of the screen, where did those little play runs happen?
I don't know actually. Uh, Normally, with
There you
when
go
you
for the audience, pushing buttons without knowing what's going to happen.
yeah. Well, when we don't use Docker, it runs right here,
Well, where's right
I
here?
guess.
I
Uh,
guess. There you go.
in this
The
sidebar.
answer is I don't know. In that process, where is that process? I don't know.
Um, Viewing Docker desktop.
That's cool. So this should basically be accessible in the browser.
What do you think I should do here? View on the Docker desktop, enable
No,
watch.
just copy that HTTP address, listening on 4567. Just if your Docker forwarding is set up correctly, we should see the application running, and then we can start doing actual work. Please don't show off one password.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, perfect. That's good. So, can you bring up Slack and go to the auto ticket channel? Try to bring it up off screen and just bring up auto ticket straight into your recording environment. If you can do that, you have two monitors.
Um,
Yeah, perfect. Collapse that. We don't need all that stuff. Oh, weird.
Let me. Oh,
Oh, are you viewing that in the browser?
nope.
Huh.
Um, do you want me to send a message here?
Um, so let's just explain auto ticket real quick again. Um, if somebody asks you to do work in Slack, auto ticket will pay attention. No, no, bring that stuff back up. Auto ticket will pay attention and it'll document what somebody asked you to do. And so Lucas has no tickets. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask him in the auto ticket channel, um, uh, Lucas, please ticket and do uh, create Docker file for auto ticket project. You should see that. Perfect. And now if you uh, run check now, I think it should pick that the system should pick up that message and ticket it. There you go. Awesome. That's exactly what we would expect. Create Docker file for auto ticket. Now, what I want us to work on today, um, can you go to let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna send another message. Can someone please fix the broken doorbell? Right? And now I would not expect auto ticket to understand that this means somebody needs to create a ticket for fixing the broken doorbell. So go ahead and run the check now. And this is happening because somewhere in our initial building, I remember prompting correctly, or maybe I thought I prompted correctly, but if you open up like Slack monitor.rb back in um, cursor land,
It's like monitor here.
yeah, wherever we're paying attention to new messages, message needs ticket, right? So message needs ticket is weak. I wanted to use an LLM here because I thought the LLM would do a better job of figuring out the intention. right? And instead, Ader, which is actually Claude, took the path of least resistance and did a deterministic matching. So only if a message in Slack contains these words will an exact match work. So this is basically programming pre-LLMs, which is useful, but it won't really go the distance. So what I would like us to do in this session, Lucas, is tell Cursor to update message needs ticket to basically use an LLM to attempt to ascertain if somebody asked for work to be done rather than hunting for the exact phrases, please ticket, can you ticket this, and all that stuff. Does that make sense? Can you tell me
Okay.
what I'm asking for?
Yeah. Um, we're gonna use an LLM in the message needs ticket to sort to understand the message and see if the message is asking for a ticket, right?
For asking for work to be done, right? And in
Okay.
this case, work to be done is sort of like file a ticket.
So I am referencing here the
Mm-hmm.
file and the function.
Mm-hmm.
So cursor know exactly where to look at. And let me use some Portuguese here.
And if you remember, there's also the fireworks .ai tokens already set up in the env.
All
Did you
right.
copy my
Yeah.
env? You copied the
Yeah.
env stuff, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
please don't show that on screen.
Okay.
Then I got to do the tokens all over again. Palavras-chave para keywords para
Yeah.
determinar si precisamos de ticket.
Uh,
Precisamos. I don't remember what that one is.
Need. If we
Need.
need.
Uh,
Uh,
Uger.
um,
Would love to see if you mix the English and the Portuguese together, and the LLMs will all still figure it out. There might even be, I can tell you, I will look on my side real quick if we have any other um, fireworks LLM. So we have an API service in lib LLM service. Yeah, so the LLM service file is already configured to use fireworks.ai. Um, it seems like parse LLM response. Yeah.
so I told cursor
Mm-hmm.
how we do right now.
Mm-hmm.
We use
Mm-hmm.
palavras-chave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him to use an LLM to do uh, this analysis. And I
Mm-hmm.
told him that on .env we already have a API key for Fireworks AI. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see if it can understand that. So it say that it created a LLM analyzer class,
Mm-hmm.
modified Slack monitor to use the LLM analyzer. I need to run bundle install. and rerun the app.
Reiniciar al bagageau.
Yeah. Do you want to do a quick review on this
Yeah,
file?
let's look at this.
So this is the LLM analyzer class. Okay.
The prompt looks good.
Respond with only yes if a ticket needs to be created. Okay, I'm gonna accept
Yep,
that.
yep.
And here just using that on our Slack monitor instead of using ticket phrase. It runs our LLM analyzer. Gonna accept that. I'm gonna stop this. Run bundle install. We need to run the bundle install inside Docker, right?
I don't know about that. I think that might be a Docker build. When you're using Docker Compose, I think Docker Compose build will install the gems.
Okay, I
Um,
had an error here.
yeah,
Well,
probably the
let me
same thing.
use. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's a good error. So to the viewers, that's a require.
okay, now it's running the Docker Compose
Yeah.
and showing me here what's running, not.
Is there something like
This.
deeply ironic about building a Sinatra app because it's very easy and hopefully user friendly, and then attempting to run it inside Docker, which is about the least user friendly thing I can think of?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I reloaded and
Oh, that's nice.
automatically appear here. Fix broken doorbell.
I like that. So that means the system, because the auto ticket is initially configured to look for the messages in the last 48 hours. And so basically it reran itself and it decided that, hey, can someone please fix the broken doorbell? Perfect. One link, create Docker file for auto ticket project. Okay. And so now I don't remember, but I think that my initial interest was that, I need someone named Lucas to check if the stuff has been done. And I'm going to add a message that says, and make sure it is done with the color blue. We should make sure, you should probably stop auto ticket so that we don't ticket that. I don't think, or at least I don't think that that the system will pay attention to the conversational thread and add the conversational thread to to the ticket. Um, run auto ticket and let's see what happens. Just, I think you should just click run check now because it's scheduled to run every 15 minutes or something.
No, any logs here?
Hmm. Maybe we should have auto ticket output why it doesn't think it's a requirement to do work.
Okay. Uh, so um,
Lembre-se de logar no terminal o porqué de cada mensaje ser definida como tendo o. Now, que crear un ticket.
uh, remember to log in the terminal why each message uh, had to be had to have a ticket created or not.
Hmm. Hmm.
So just a logger here and here.
I don't think that's gonna get us where we're gonna go. That's just gonna say yes or no. That's not gonna actually tell us why it doesn't need a ticket. Like
Yeah,
I want to know why the LLM thinks that message doesn't require a ticket. So I think that's part of our prompt. Um, I mean, you could manually add to the no case in the prompt if you want. Like this is a great example where maybe it's really hard to tell Cursor exactly what we want, but now that Cursor has done all the legwork for us, we just need to modify that prompt a little bit, like manually, right?
yeah. Let me see. Let me find here where it goes when the answer is no.
It's
If
up at the
it's no.
top. It's right there. Line 23, 22. Respond only with yes if a ticket should be created or no. Okay, so here I'm going to tell you what I want it, how to modify it.
Yeah,
So on line 22, where the end quote for the word no, it's, yep. So add a, no, 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 add a space.
yeah, it goes to I need to accept or
Oh,
reject. I'm gonna
interesting.
reject this.
Yeah, perfect. So can we edit? So go inside the quotation mark,
Okay.
add a space, dash, or a hyphen, and then there you go. Did fucking cursor just fucking do that?
Yeah, I
Holy
just need to
shit.
press
Can you
tab.
go backwards? Can you go backwards?
Uh,
Just push undo
what do you mean?
once. Go undo,
Okay.
and now space. Now redo. Okay, type, yeah, now type space. See if we can get it to do that auto prompt again.
No, it's not showing again because I removed. If I go right,
Ah, that's too
no.
bad. Okay, whatever. That would have been incredible. I wanted to screenshot that. Yeah, but redo that. Oh,
I
stop.
yeah, right here.
Let me see if I got that. There you go. Fucking perfect.
Did you get my
Perfect.
big smile on the
I
screenshot?
don't know. Let's see. Let's
Okay.
see. Who looks like a gomper? And I'm kidding. I don't mean that. It's just funny to say it out loud. No, you were slow. I got it. I'm that fast. Anyways, let's keep going. How many
Okay,
minutes into this session are we? Okay, there you go. Let's try to run this.
let me just cancel here. Stop.
Stop. Hmm.
Okay, but what are you doing with this no dash reason? We are
We
not,
don't. We're just learning. Remember, all of this vibe coding honestly has a lot more to do with learning than it does with producing. And I think people are like, vibe code to produce. No, no, no. We're just learning. We're learning what the LLM thinks.
yeah, yeah, but
Like all we want to
you're
see is
not
in the
logging this reason, right? You're not logging
oh
this. ans-
yeah. Tell it to log all the no's and tell cursor to log all the no's from needs tickets.
From needs ticket.
So that's how we would tell a human to do it. I would have actually probably specified that down a little bit, but it's fine.
Increase the max tokens so you can see the message. Okay, puts message does not need a ticket. Reason. That's good, right?
Um, I don't know. Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, you're right. It's always really hard for me to look at the diffs when the LLM is in charge. Docker compose up. Cool. Message. No, let's look at
Um,
that. It had a good error message up on, or it had a good log on screen. The message appears to be a request for someone named Lucas to verify if a task has been completed, but it does not indicate a bug, feature request, or a task that needs to be tracked. It seems to be a simpler request for, okay, cool. So now I'm going to improve this. Hey, Lucas, for the auto ticket system, let's ensure the UI has better indicators that each tab is the tab for a particular Slack channel. And before I send this, Lucas, can you bring up the auto ticket UI? Okay, you've got it on screen. So
yeah.
in my opinion, we've got an information hierarchy problem, right? We've got like auto ticketing system in bold up on top, which kind of makes sense. And then we have like these two tabs, right? Auto ticket and tools and tech. A user who didn't build this system probably wouldn't understand why we have those two tabs. I also think that run check now, if it is running a check on all channels, that run check now button should be outside of the tabs. If it is
Yeah.
running a tab specific check, then it can be inside the tabs. And so I'm going to tell you that we need to ensure the UI makes it clear that the tabs correctly map to a Slack channel with the same name. Hey, Lucas, for the auto ticket system, let's ensure the UI has better indicators that each tab is the tab for a particular Slack channel. And while we're at it, while we are at it, let's move the run check now button outside the tabs. So now we have uh, hopefully a correctly specified request. And did you run it again right there? 1536? No, 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 no. So
No,
try
not
running it
yet.
now. Run check now. Oh, come on. Oh, no, no, no. So yeah, all right. Perfect.
Yeah,
So it improve auto ticket system, enhance tab indicators, and button placement. That's pretty fucking good.
yeah. So
Let's view
this
that ticket
message
on
was
GitHub. Yeah, that was the previous. And for the users, we don't have a lot of state management, so it's just always looking at everything.
let me increase font here. System needs
Um,
improvement.
okay, awesome. Now let's feed this exact prompt to Cursor and see if it can make all of these changes at once.
All right.
And like think of that feedback loop we have going now. Like
Yeah.
basically we have a bot paying attention to our conversations and then we have Cursor paying attention to our tickets. Boop, 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 boop. Do, 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 do. It's weird that that Zoom, while it's recording, doesn't give me any feedback about how long I've been recording for. You would think that was like pretty relevant to users,
Yeah, it
right?
is.
Like, dude,
Oh,
how
look
long have
how
we been in here
much.
for? How much code it wrote?
Yeah.
YOLO. Every time I
The,
say YOLO to an AI engine, I think of Philip Newsney, my first and oldest collaborator who I met on Craigslist in San Francisco.
we can test this code without accepting. We can
How?
just go back here. Um, yeah,
How? What does it
look.
run? It runs the accept state until you accept it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fucking cool.
So that's the new UI. Yeah, the channel ID here.
It should say Slack channel, right? It's still like it's good. It's just still like maybe okay, maybe tell it to add a Slack icon to each tab. I don't know.
Let's see how we gonna do this.
I love like something I was thinking about in our last session. It is always the path of least resistance, which even as people who specialize in building MVPs, I don't know if we take the path of least resistance. We still sometimes build to please ourselves. And I think
Yeah.
if you're building to please yourself in any capacity, you're probably not taking the path of least resistance, which then means sometimes for learning, the path of least resistance is great, but for actual production, I mean, I think we already have a kind of architectural mess.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, damn, that's amazing. Hold on, let's screenshot that. That is great. Um,
I hope you got
uh,
my big smile this time.
let's see. Let's see. No, I don't even know if I got the
Okay,
Slack.
doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, that's the most important.
Um, so I think probably we're good to go in this moment. I would
Oh, I'm gonna
say
accept that.
accept. the really interesting learning for me here is that LLM driven development, I think taking the path of least resistance is incredibly important, as is the LLM is only solving for the behavioral use case. It's not considering anything else. And I think that's a very important part of learning. And further down that line, I don't really like to sit by myself and code anymore, right? Like that was a version of me that existed 8 years ago where I would happily spend an 8 hour day sitting in my apartment building things by hand. Um, this workflow where you and I are collaboratively talking to the LLM, I think is an incredibly powerful workflow. This is pair programming on some kind of 10x steroids.
Yeah, for
Like I
sure.
might I might literally never write another manual line of code again in my entire life. I might not even run this stuff on my machine, but I ha in a world pre-LLM, that would be a travesty because I have 10 years of experience doing very edge kind of stuff. So we would lose that experience because I'm like fatigued at writing code. Whereas now we can sort of transfer my experience back into the equation quite easily.
Yeah, for sure. Just write code when the LLMs mess with the code a little bit and you need to fix it.
Yeah, and I was thoroughly impressed how uh, Cursor just automatically auto-completed the obvious thing we were about to insert into the code, which was why, the reason for determining something wasn't a ticket. Okay. Anyways, I'm John Davison, and this is
Lucas Draichi.
we are engineers with startuplandia.io. We are a very special kind of product development team made up of people who I think are amazing at the game of building products, who have exceptional communication skills, an incredible focus on user experience, and who have effectively committed to be all in on 0 to 1 engineering. We are like a dev shop and an agency and an angel investor or a venture studio all merged our DNA and came out the other end as some weird services organization that makes life better for entrepreneurs. So if you're curious about how to build things with AI, or you have built things with AI that you don't understand, which is going to be a lot of problems for a lot of people, please reach out to us directly and we would be happy to host you in one of these live sessions. We do these every week and we're cool people. So hopefully you would like to see us be cool or help us be cooler because of you. All right. Um, I'm going to finish that now.
Yeah.
Stop.